over the place, and my report is about Roman Catholicism. As well, tour you around Iloilo or Panay Island. About 90% of the population of the Philippines are all Christians, which is around 82% Catholic, while the other 4 to 6% is Protestant or Evangelicals, and the remaining percentage have significant shares of Christian cults, Muslims, and the rest.
Before the Hispanic occupation in the Philippines, Filipino spiritual beliefs include animism, monotheism, polytheism, and Islam. They believe that all objects of nature, such as rocks, stars, sun, moon, animals, trees, and many others, are like man and consider them as gods. They call the creator or maker as Bathala may kapal, while Bathala for the supreme god. There has been minor gods and deities such as Lalahanon, goddess of agriculture, Varangao, the goddess of rainbow, Pandake is the god who raises the dead to life, Maguwayan is the god who ferries the soul to the underworld. They venerate their ancestors, particularly those who were outstanding for their deeds of valor or cruelty. They made idols made of stone, straw, wood, ivory, bones, or gold. They also had priests called babaylan who held the responsibility to deal with the devil. They also believe in multitude of nature spirits called anitos, and Catalanon are the kind of priests that perform sacrifices to anitos. Islamic group called Moros were identified from their monotheistic influence.
This neo-classical church at my back is St. Nicholas Parish Church, and this was built in 1834. This was built or initiated by an Augustinian father named Reverend Father Ramon Alquizar.
The first Augustinian missionaries arrived in the Philippines in 1543. But how did Christianity really arrive or get in the Philippines in the first place? Francisco Serrano persuaded Magellan to venture to Moluccas through western route. Ferdinand Magellan, a Portuguese captain, gathered 5 ships with 235 headed to Moluccas in September 1519. The fleet followed Columbus' course across Atlantic. Then he turned south to a new world, and one ship went down because of storm even before they reached the now called Strait of Magellan, while another ship went back to Spain. Magellan went to the uncharted Trans-Pacific route. They reached Moluccas in July 1519. Magellan's 3 main ships, namely Trinidad, Victoria, and Concepcion, apparently missed Moluccas, or the Spice Island, that's about 700 miles distant from the Philippines, and instead they reached Eastern Samar in March 16, 1521. They sailed to Humonhon Island and traded with Suluan Islanders. Then they sailed to southern Leyte in March 25, 1521 and reached Limasawa Island on March 29, 1521. There he met Raha Kulambu. They celebrated Easter. Magellan had a great ceremony on April 1, 1521 as a thanksgiving for their safe arrival. Padre Pedro Valderrama officiated the first Mass following the consecration march of his troops. He spoke of the meaning of the cross as a Christian symbol. However, people perceived the cross to be a protection against calamities and an instrument to win the friendship of white-skinned visitors. Magellan and his fleet headed to Cebu and arrived on April 7, 1521. He met Raha Humavon and converted him to Christianity. However, the other chiefs refused to be converted. He threatened them to have them get killed if they will not profess allegiance. Another convert was Doña Juana, Humabon's wife, and historians believe that the Santo Niño image was given to her as a gift. Now, due to Lapu-Lapu's refusal, Magellan took about 60 of his men and crossed towards the reluctant chief. but they were encircled with hundreds of warriors. It was too late to retreat. A poisoned arrow hurled into Magellan's face. When the natives recognized him as the leader, they turned upon him and knocked him down, but he stood firmly to his last breath. Pigafetta's account mentioned that he turned back many times to see whether his men were all in the boats. They watched him until he breathed his last on April 27, 1521.
Hi, I'm here at Haniway Church in Iloilo. This is one of the oldest churches in Panay. This is the ruin of the old church. They now have new cathedral, but this one serves as a tourist spot. It was declared by UNESCO like a heritage location or a heritage church. It's actually closed. I can't get inside, but this is the church. So the structure is still tight.
Ruy Lopez de Villalobos, the captain of the new fleet, followed Magellan's course with his fleet of 6 ships, 4 missionaries, and 200 men. They reached Mindanao in February 2, 1543. In honor of King Philip II, he then gave the country a permanent name as Las Islas Filipinas.
We're here in Iloilo and we're seeing and hearing Wolo Church and ringing the bell. So Iloilo is in the West Philippines and one among the region that has been colonized by Spaniards.
Popular piety, an expression of search for God and faith. It is rich in values, a thirst for God. It involves an acute awareness of profound attributes of God, making people capable of sacrifice and generosity to the point of heroism. Pope John Paul VI. To Pope Francis, it enables believers to see how faith, once received, becomes embodied in the culture and is constantly passed on. A spirituality incarnated in the culture of the lowly. It is an active act of evangelizing, and it brings with itself the grace of being a missionary. Pope Benedict, on the other hand, says that it is a synthesis between culture and Christian faith, expressing devotion to the saints with their patronal feast with love for Pope, pastors, universal church, and great family of God. This characteristic of Catholicism in the country held towards Mary, the Mother of God. Even from pre-Hispanic time to present, it is said that Filipino families placed mothers at the central place greater than other neighboring countries, and it manifests in the Catholic lifestyle. It is a Filipino Catholicism confidence that one can approach the mother if the father cannot be approached. Additionally, traditional Filipino devotion to Mary is deeply rooted in Filipino Catholicism, Hispanic roots, society and cultural trait evident in many common titles venerated for her, such as Our Lady of Lourdes, of Mount Carmel, of Good Voyage or Soros, and a lot more.
Hi, we're here in Haro, Iloilo, and this is another church, an old church, and the difference between this one and the first one is that this has a separate bell tower. Look at that. So there, the tower is separate from the cathedral, which is very different from any other cathedral. I've learned that the name of the patron saint of this Haro Iloilo Church is Nuestra Señora de la Candelaria. So that's another trivia for you.
This is evident to the Catholic piety through the devotions to the souls in purgatory and the celebration of All Saints and All Souls Day every 1st and 2nd of November. The most popular, though, is the devotion to saints. Historically, natives are attracted to concrete and mediators, resulting to a high devotion to saints. The challenge is for Catholic teachings to put more effort in leading, directing, and linking this devotion to Christ, to which our saint life should be anchored. The remarkable 40 years where many Cebuanos got converted was accounted to Santo Niño that was given to Doña Juana, wife of Raho Mabon back in 1521. Today, the image of child Jesus is worshipped, clothed with fine garments, and treated pricely in Filipino homes. It is believed that Santo Niño could protect them from harm, but some other believes it will bring prosperity and safety. This is known for the Hispanic Catholics and was passed on to Filipino communities. Jesus' condemnation, suffering, and death are dramatically reenacted to relieve the devotion in contemporary church. Usually, this is every Good Friday and with the Passion, veneration of the cross, and communion. Later on, it has been incorporated to Mass of Christmas Eve with dramatic placing of baby Jesus in the manger or the reenactment of the Nativity story. It is believed that the novena or prayer devotions in the shrine or churches usually grants the petition of the devotees. One popular church is Baclaran Church of the Redemptionist Fathers became the Mecca of Christian pilgrims. It is claimed that it rarely fails in answering grants or petitions. Another popular destination is Our Lady of Manawag, who is believed to possess healing powers.